You know that moment. The one right after a night that actually felt real. You were together for hours, laughing, touching, talking like two people who were finally letting the walls come down. And then the next day, everything shifts. Their texts get shorter. Their energy changes. You can feel them pulling back, even though nothing technically happened. So now you're staring at your phone, rereading the last message, feeling that drop in your chest like your body knows bad news before your mind does. And the thoughts start. Why do they always get distant when things get closer? Did I say too much? Am I asking for too much? Do they like me, or just the version of me that needs nothing? Why does this feel so good one minute and so confusing the next? Here's the truth most people miss. Dating an avoidant gets hard not because they feel too little. It gets hard because closeness wakes up fear faster than they know how to explain it. You are not too much. You are not failing at love. And this is not automatically a sign you chose the wrong person. By the end of this video, you're going to understand what avoidant people are actually protecting, what pushes them farther away without you realizing it, and how to build connection with them without abandoning yourself in the process. Let's get into it. The mindset reframe. Most couples believe dating an avoidant means loving someone who just doesn't want real connection, and that if you are patient enough, calm enough, attractive enough, or low maintenance enough, they'll finally relax and love you the way you need. But the real truth is that avoidant behavior usually isn't a lack of feeling. It's a nervous system adaptation. It's what happens when someone learned, somewhere beneath the surface, that needing people is dangerous, dependence is risky, and closeness can cost them control, freedom, or even selfhood. That changes everything. Because now you stop reading every withdrawn moment as a character flaw, and you stop reading your own longing as weakness. An avoidant person can want connection deeply, sometimes painfully. But when intimacy starts feeling real, their nervous system can register it like a smoke detector going off in the middle of the night. It does not matter that there is no actual fire. Their body still sounds the alarm. And if you lean anxious, or even just deeply relational, your nervous system is doing the opposite. You feel distance, you feel the shift, and your body says, go get them back, fix it now, close the gap. So now both people are reacting. One by moving closer, one by pulling away. And both of them think the other person is the problem. Not less love, not bad chemistry, not proof this can never work. A cycle. That's the part most couples never understand. What looks like disinterest is often overwhelm. What looks like neediness is often fear. And when safety leaves a relationship, the love doesn't disappear. It goes underground. So if you want to date an avoidant well, you need more than patience. You need pattern awareness. You need emotional steadiness. And you need to know the difference between making room for someone's pace and making excuses for their emotional absence. That's where the real work starts. 1. Stop chasing closeness. Start building safety. Here's the part no one talks about. Most couples try to solve avoidant distance by pushing harder for reassurance. They ask more questions, send longer texts, force more "where is this going" conversations, and try to talk their way back into connection, because panic makes urgency feel like love. But the deeper truth is that an avoidant person's nervous system often hears pressure long before it hears your actual words. So when you come in strong, even if your intention is connection, what they often feel is loss of freedom, expectation, or emotional demand. And what you feel is, if I don't do something right now, I'm going to lose them. Both people are scared. They just show it in opposite ways. So instead of saying, "Why are you being weird? You were so open yesterday and now you're acting distant again," the connecting version sounds more like, "Hey, I noticed a little shift. No pressure. I just want you to know I'm here, and I care more about honesty than perfection." One creates a corner, the other creates space. And when you do that, you stop making closeness feel like a trap and start making it feel like somewhere they can exhale. 2. Learn their withdrawal window. And this is the one most couples never figure out. Most couples treat withdrawal like a verdict. If an avoidant person gets quiet, pulls back, or needs space after intimacy or conflict, most people in relationships immediately assume the relationship is in danger and try to force immediate resolution. But here's what nobody explains. For many avoidant people, silence is not always punishment. Sometimes it is protection. Sometimes they are not calmly processing. They are flooded. Their nervous system is trying to reduce intensity because closeness, conflict, disappointment, and vulnerability can all hit their body like the same threat. Your nervous system in conflict is like a smoke detector. It cannot always tell the difference between emotional discomfort and actual danger, so it sounds the alarm anyway. That means when you demand depth from someone at the exact moment their system is shutting down, you don't get truth. You get defense. You get numbness. You get, "I don't know," because "I'm overwhelmed" has never felt safe enough to say. So the disconnecting version is, "We are not ending this conversation until you tell me what's going on." The connecting version is, "I want to understand this with you, but I can feel we're both getting activated. Let's take a little space and come back at 7. That second response does not abandon the issue. It protects the repair. And when you learn the difference between abandonment and regulation, the room gets quieter, softer, and far more real. 3. Don't ask, "Why can't you commit?" Ask, "What makes closeness feel heavy?" This is where it gets really interesting. Most couples frame the problem like this. One person wants commitment, the other person is afraid of it. So the answer must be more reassurance, more labels, or more convincing. But most people in relationships never stop to ask what commitment actually means inside the avoidant person's body. Because often, beneath the surface, commitment is not registering as love. It is registering as pressure, as engulfment, as losing themselves, as being needed in ways they do not trust themselves to sustain. That's why you can love someone and still pull away from them. Not because you want less connection, because some part of you learned that closeness comes with a cost. And here's what changes everything. When you stop interrogating commitment and start getting curious about emotional weight, you make honesty possible. You invite the real conversation, the unspoken one, the one where his brain might quietly be saying, "If I give more, I won't know how to get myself back." Or where she feels, "If I let him need me fully, I'll disappear inside this relationship." So instead of saying, "Why do you always freak out when things get serious?" try, "When relationships start feeling deeper, what begins to feel heavy for you?" That lands differently. It feels safer. It feels like curiosity, not accusation. And when you do that, your partner stops feeling like a mystery to decode and starts feeling like a human being you can finally meet. 4. When they open up, don't turn it into an interrogation. Here's the part most people miss completely. Most couples say they want vulnerability, but the second it arrives, they overwhelm it. An avoidant person finally shares something tender, uncertain, or emotionally real, and instead of receiving it, the other person jumps in with 10 follow-up questions, years of stored frustration, or a whole courtroom of unresolved pain. That is how walls go back up, fast. Because for someone with avoidant patterns, vulnerability often feels like walking onto thin ice. They are not casually sharing. They are risking exposure. They are testing whether honesty leads to connection or shame. And if the moment gets too intense, too analytical, or too emotionally crowded, something in them starts saying, "Yep, this is why I stay private." So the disconnecting version sounds like, "Wait, what do you mean you felt overwhelmed? When did this start? Why didn't you tell me sooner? Does this mean you're unsure about us?" The connecting version sounds like, "Thank you for telling me that. Honestly, I know that probably wasn't easy to say." That one sentence matters a lot. This isn't a communication hack. This is what emotionally mature people do. They make it safe to tell the truth before asking for more of it. And when you respond that way, their nervous system quietly registers, "I don't have to protect myself from this moment." And the distance between you starts to soften on its own. 5. Keep your life big. Bro, this one matters more than people realize. Most couples, especially when the connection feels uncertain, start shrinking their world around the relationship. They over-monitor texts, over-focus on mixed signals, and slowly make the other person the center of their emotional weather because uncertainty creates obsession. But dating an avoidant well requires something different. It requires self-possession. Not pretending not to care, not playing games, not becoming cold, detached, or emotionally unavailable yourself, but becoming someone whose sense of self does not collapse every time the connection fluctuates. That matters because avoidant people often trust closeness more when it doesn't feel like captivity. When they feel your life, your steadiness, your presence, your purpose, they are less likely to experience connection as a demand they have to manage. And you feel better too, because your whole identity is no longer hanging from the thread of one reply. So the disconnecting version is spending all day rereading their message, canceling plans, and sending, "Are we okay?" after 4 hours of silence. The connecting version is going to the gym, seeing your friends, handling your life, and later saying, "Hey, hope your day's okay. Let me know when you want to connect." Same care, different energy. And when you live that way, you stop chasing love like oxygen and start bringing the kind of grounded presence that real intimacy can actually grow inside. 6. Don't overread the distance. Learn the pattern. And here's what nobody explains. Most couples treat every withdrawn moment like new information. A delayed text means loss of interest. A flat tone means the spark is gone. A need for space means the relationship is slipping. So most people in relationships react to the moment instead of reading the pattern. But avoidant dynamics make a lot more sense when you zoom out. Because often the distance comes after closeness, after a great weekend, after a vulnerable talk, after a good date. after they feel themselves becoming emotionally available in ways that scare them. That's why emotional distance in a relationship isn't usually a brick wall. It's more like scar tissue. It forms slowly over 100 moments that never got understood, never got named, never got repaired. And if you don't understand the cycle, you'll keep personalizing a pattern that was already in motion before you arrived. So instead of translating the shift as "they don't care," you start asking, what just happened before this? Was there more closeness? More dependency? More emotional intensity? The disconnecting version says, you always do this. Every time we get close, you disappear. I'm done. The connecting version says, I've noticed that after we get really close, you sometimes go inward. I'm not trying to trap you. I just want to understand what that's like for you. That is a completely different conversation. And honestly, it opens doors. That's when her brain quietly registers, he's not just reacting to me. He's actually seeing the pattern. Or something in him says, she's not trying to control me. She's trying to understand me. And that's the shift that turns recurring confusion into the beginning of real repair. 7. Know the difference between protected and truly unavailable. This is the point that can save you years. Most couples stay too long in painful cycles because they confuse avoidance with depth. They think, if I just love them better, stay calmer, ask less, need less, maybe they'll finally choose me fully. And man, that hope can keep you stuck. So let's make this real. An avoidant person is not automatically a bad partner, but an attachment style is not a free pass either. Not mixed signals forever, not chronic ambiguity, not disappearing every time something real is asked of them. That is not just how they are. That is emotional unavailability. A protected person can still repair. They may need time, they may move slower, they may get withdrawn, but they come back. They reflect. They name things. They make the relationship feel possible, not perpetually foggy. So the disconnecting version looks like this. You say, when you vanish after intimacy, it hurts. And they respond with, you're too needy. This is why relationships are exhausting. The connecting version looks like this. You say the same thing, and they say, I know I pull away when I feel overwhelmed. I'm working on that. I need a little time sometimes, but I don't want to leave you guessing. That right there matters more than chemistry, more than potential, more than intensity. Because when someone can name their patterns and repair after them, the relationship stops feeling like an emotional guessing game and starts feeling like somewhere your heart can safely live. So no, this is not about becoming smaller so an avoidant person can finally tolerate you. And it is not about becoming their therapist either. It is about becoming someone who can recognize patterns, create safety, honor your own needs, and tell the difference between emotional protection and emotional absence. This isn't a checklist. It's an identity shift. You stop begging for connection and start building the kind of presence that invites it. You stop reacting to every moment and start understanding what's happening beneath the surface. And you become the kind of partner who can love deeply without losing yourself in the process. That changes everything, because when you internalize this, you don't just date differently. You show up differently. You choose differently. You repair differently. You love in a way that is real. And here's the mic drop truth. The relationship you want does not begin when someone finally stops pulling away. It begins when you stop abandoning yourself just to keep them close. If this hit you, really hit you, drop a comment with the word safety so I know this found the right person. And if you want more honest conversations about connection, attachment, and becoming emotionally available without losing who you are, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.